So today I will be discussing topic number 3 and how intolerance of uncertainty levels can be predicted by an adult's insecure ambivalent attachment style. So first, uncertainty is described as a condition where an aversive or uncertain stimuli is present and we lack precision and confidence in what is known. Intolerance of that is that an individual's lacking capacity to endure in response to that uncertainty or that negative information that is perceived as triggering or threatening. And encompasses cognition, the emotional state of distress, and the behavioral reaction of worrying. So worrying is actually found in a key aspect of anxiety disorders. It is persistent, excessive concern thoughts. Okay, so the statistics on the left also show that IOU levels are commonly observed in individuals with anxiety disorders. Importance of knowing this information is that first, we know IOU levels are correlated. We know that is a good measure of anxiety disorders, and it can also be a measurable variable for effectiveness in treatments, and it is such a prevalent issue in our society today. It is the first step to reduce burden and promote preventative measures. The first literature that I found is a longitudinal study of children and mothered pairs over 3 time periods. The first, children were ages 5 to 7, second, children ages 13, and the third, ages children of 21 years old. So over the 3 time periods, in the first time period, the mother did an interactive play task similar to Ainsworth's study. The second and third, they did some worry surveys, some IOU scales, and results show that anxious mothers are 65% more likely to have insecure ambivalent children. No secure child had an anxious mother, and anxious mothers had 30% higher IOU levels than non-anxious mothers, and 57% insecure ambivalent attachment predicted higher IOU levels, consistent in time zones 1, 2, and 3. The second study I found is a correlational study where experimenters analyze adult attachment style. The second attachment style, which I'll be focusing on, is attachment avoidance, where a person distrusts their partner in the inability to help, so they tend to get uncomfortable with emotional attachment, they avoid intimacy, and they tend to be very self-reliant. And studies show that the insecure attachment style developed higher IOU levels than the secure attachment participants, and it was correlated with increasing levels of worry. The third piece of literature that I found is a correlational study where the experimenters analyzed hoarding behaviors and how that related to insecure attachment styles. So the study showed that insecure attachment styles were contributed to 40% the indecisiveness of the hoarding habits, and the IOU is related. So to summarize the 3 themes that I found in the 3 studies is that all studies show positive correlations between IOU and insecure attachment style, avoidance style, but we don't see a cause and effect relationship present. And they all use 7-point scales on surveys, which is much more effective than 5-point surveys, because it has the somewhat agree, somewhat disagree to provide, a more specific, precise measure. But the literature gap present in this 3 studies is that they use a unimodal trait assessment, meaning that they only use self-surveys, and we don't have enough precise of a definition to measure insecure ambivalent attachment style. So how I'm going to fill this gap is by using a multimodal method, where we will first use operational definitions to measure this attachment behavior by where the experimenter will discuss issues about their sense of independence, their negative childhood caregiver memory suppressed, how they see emotions, how they tend to suppress them, how they cope with difficult informations. And when we do that, we will analyze their brain's amygdala activation and their which will activate the sympathetic nervous system and how that affects the hormone epinephrine levels in that behavioral task. And then the second, in addition to that, we will also create similar self-report survey on a 7 scale. Statements will include stuff like, I find it difficult to trust others completely. I tend to rely on myself because I get uncomfortable when people are emotionally close, and so forth, which will measure specifically avoidant attachment in that self-survey. So that will facilitate as a checkup for the first behavioral task in this multimodal method. And so that will be the exposure group, where both steps 1 and steps 2 in the task and the survey, they show present of avoidant attachment style. We'll compare that with a control non-exposed group, and we'll see how the IOU levels differ in the 2 groups to analyze how it predicts IOU level, which is my hypothesis. IOU levels can be predicted by high exposure group, avoidant attachment style, in both part of the multimodal method. Thank you.